Did you know that most realtors specialize in a vertical market? And they do so even sometimes without their own knowledge. Specialization is actually a good thing, but if their specialty isn't aligned with your needs, well, that can lead to a less than pleasant experience. Specialization is common in every industry, and let's just think about an English high school teacher. Well, they could certainly go into a history class and handle the lesson plan without much of a problem. But if they were asked to go into a calculus class, well, yeah, they could follow the lesson plan, but I'm not sure the conversations would be too meaningful, would they? Certainly not in my case. Specialization can be a good thing. We want to take a look at some of what these vertical markets are that realtors do specialize in. We're going to look at buyers versus sellers, first-time home buyers, upsizing or downsizing, investors, luxury home buyers, vacation home buyers, and relocating retirees. All of them are very unique and require special skills. The experience they've learned in their particular vertical is simply going to benefit you in many ways because they know all the current trends and the potential pitfalls. When we're looking at buyers and sellers, for those that specialize with sellers, they're really focused on the pricing analysis, how to get to the right price point, where does the property stand from a competitive market analysis, and what's the marketing strategy going to be. The flip side is for a buyer, you're thinking about the location and the style of the home they want. Once that's found, how do you get a negotiation plan together to get the best deal for your client? So on the seller side, it's really about determining the right price point. It's providing great research data to help you can come up with a competitive price, and then also what kind of a marketing strategy you're going to use. When it's on the buyer side, we're looking at the type of home that a client wants, and once we found that, how are we going to negotiate to get it to the right price point? So on the buyer side, it's about finding the right property. So a lot of research there, then doing some competitive market analysis and seeing is it the right price point for that area, and then coming up with a sound negotiation strategy. So find out what your realtor is most interested in. Do they like to represent the buyer, or do they like to represent the seller? When it comes to first-time home buyers, this is a very unique category. It takes an awful lot of time from an education standpoint, walking through all of the ins and outs. You're going to have to also work with mortgage brokers and getting them qualified, and just dealing with all the anxiety and answering the questions which are always going to come up. And you want to make sure that there's a realtor there that's going to take the time and give them the service and attention that they need. In upsizing and downsizing, there's a lot of moving parts, and it's the epitome of needing a project manager. In one regard, you have your house listed, and while that's listed and you're actually showing it, you're out searching for other properties. So the coordination is just huge because you're dealing with inspectors, you're dealing with lenders and title companies. So you want to make sure that you have that broker that really has that multitasking capabilities and to keep everything on schedule. Organization is really key. And then, of course, we have investors, and that's an entirely different category. The investor is a very unique vertical market because they're not thinking about a dream home. They're more focused on numbers. They've got a particular size of a house that they want to get. They're looking to make some minor, improvements to it, make sure they can get a good rental rate for it, and make sure that it's in an area that's going to have some reasonable appreciation, in the future. So it's a business metric. And once as a realtor, you get used to crunching those types of numbers and pursuing this house from a business strategy, it's just not the same as someone that's searching for a dream home. The last thing you want is a realtor that's just driven by numbers and not focusing on helping you find that dream home. Luxury buyers. This is really a different world altogether. Luxury homes probably represent 5% or less of all the homes in a market area. And this requires very particular skills, and it's very time consuming. They are very market intensive, and there are much longer sales cycles with luxury homes. If this is really their niche, that's wonderful. The question really becomes, does your realtor have the time to spend with you, especially if you're like a first-time home buyer? So all of those things come into play. When you're needing a quick response, that luxury broker may not be available for you or to be able to respond to your request as quickly as you would like. And then we have vacation homes. Well, vacation homes are a little bit of blend of everything, because there's this enjoyment side of it for you and your family, but there's also the investment side of it, because you're going to want to probably use it at some point in time for an Airbnb or a Verbo type application. So you need to be thinking here a little bit more strategically and have this balanced out between the needs and the lifestyle that you want right now, but also what would future clients want? What type of property are they going to want to look at? So you need to balance this out, making sure is it your personal satisfaction or is it more income driven? And that takes some special skills balancing those things out. The last category is relocating retirees. This may be one of the most important categories because you're about to go through a really dramatic transition in relocating to a new area. You know all these family and friends where you are right now, but you're yearning for weather or some other type of view, and off you go. This takes an awful lot of time and commitment, and we want to make sure that all of your needs are really understood. Because one thing that's really clear about retirees is that you're on a fixed budget, so price is going to matter here, and we need to stay in budget. So a disciplined realtor understanding what your goals are is really critical for relocating retirees. After all, it's the last big move you ever planned to make, so we need to make sure we get it right. So what does all of this mean to you? Does the realtor need to actually fit perfectly in one of those categories? I don't think so, but it's just something you need to be aware of. While we're all capable of doing these things, we all have skills in different areas. And it doesn't mean that you can't work in a different vertical. For example, if you felt there was a great connection with me and you were really more in the luxury category, guess what? I would team with one of my colleagues that are really experts in this to ensure that you're getting the right level of service. So always be thinking about some good questions that you want to ask the realtor, making sure that you are aligned with what the expectations are, they've got the skills that you're looking for, and that you've got the communication together so that you can have a really successful transaction. So where do I fit in all of this? Well, my priorities are really for relocating retirees and also vacation home purchasers because they're very, very similar. I've been there. I know what it's like to relocate. I'm semi-retired myself, so we can speak the same language. But another category that I really love is working with first-time home buyers. You know, that's just very special. And I could remember buying our first home in San Antonio, Texas. What a scare that was. $19,100 for 1,100 square foot house. Boy, that was a few moons ago, wasn't it? But great lessons learned, and I understand the expectation. So if you happen to be a first-time home buyer, trust me. So at the end of the day, it's about you. But have the discipline to ask some good questions and making sure that the realtor that you select really has the skills that you need to help get your dream home here up in the greater Asheville area. I look forward to meeting you soon. I'm Frank Wood, real estate consultant at your service.
If you're looking for a home in the greater Asheville area or have any questions about real estate, get in touch or drop a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe.